Hey everyone, it's Jamie and welcome back to my channel. Sorry if I sound a little sick. It's because I kind of am a little sick. I don't know what to say, sorry. Today I decided we were going to go over a speed build I actually built a little while ago. It's been on my channel for a while, and before we really get into it, I want to be honest, we're going to be talking about the movie Knives Out, which I think is one of the best movies of 2019. It was actually the inspiration behind this build. There won't be any major spoilers, but if you don't want to hear anything about the movie because you haven't seen it yet, and maybe you're waiting to rent it or see it later, totally understand. You can come back to this video afterwards maybe. But for those who've already seen it and don't mind, or who haven't seen it and don't mind people discussing it in a non-spoiler way, you definitely feel free to stick around. So this home was inspired by the home that was used for the exterior shots in the film. If you didn't know, they used two different homes, both homes being in Easton, Massachusetts. One of the homes location has been disclosed. It's a home that I believe is on a kind of like in a public government park kind of thing, state park. And the other one, its name, like where it is, its like exact location has not been disclosed, probably because people still live there, and that's the one that was used for the exterior shots. Like I said, they used the two buildings. One, all the exterior shots were taken, then one for the interior shots. Because of this, I couldn't get really any good floor plans, and I could only use the images that were in the movie to really be able to build what I could. So because of that, this couldn't be an exact replica, or as exact replica as I wanted it to be. So what it ends up being is it's just kind of a home inspired by the home that we saw in the movie, that being kind of a mixture between some of the things we saw in the interior and the exterior, because like I said, they did use two different homes. And what the home is kind of like this 19th century Victorian beautiful home, and as anyone who follows this channel knows, that's what I love. That's my favorite style, what most of my builds are in. So when I saw the home in the movie, I was like, oh, I have to build that, or build something inspired by it. And what this ends up being, this pretty big, massive 19th century manor. And honestly, I love it. It's one of my favorite builds to date. And part of the reason I wanted to build is because how much I love Knives Out. So Knives Out, for those who haven't heard of it or only know kind of about, so it's a 2019 murder mystery movie directed by Rian Johnson, also the director of The Last Jedi, which, controversial opinion, I really enjoyed The Last Jedi, so I definitely like Rian Johnson as a movie creator, so I really had no fears going into this, and honestly, I loved this movie so much. To be honest, so I'm already a sucker for murder mysteries. Give me a murder mystery and I'm already sucked in. I love shows that are murder mysteries. I love movies. I'm just a murder mystery kind of guy. What can I say? So already from the get-go, I was already invested. And what I will say about this movie is it was so creative in its kind of way it used the murder mystery kind of tropes and stuff. It's one of those movies where I definitely thought I knew who the killer was, and then the movie definitely was like, made me think it wasn't, and the movie does a very good job at kind of keeping you guessing. The movie also has some of the best characters. So the main character is named Marta. I actually didn't think she was going to be the main character when I first started the movie, and that was a pretty pleasant surprise because I did really like Marta. Marta is the caregiver for the patriarch of the family, named Harlan. in Harlan, he's very old at this point. He needs, a caretaker. She's a nurse. She's also an immigrant. So the movie does touch upon a little bit about immigrants and their struggle, as well as some of the things they have to deal with. The movie kind of kicks off with Harlan's body being found by Marta, and it was right after his birthday. And at this birthday party, a lot of things went down. So pretty much at this point, it becomes very clear that just about everyone who was there is a suspect, because just about everyone has a motive, and those are the kind of movies and murder mysteries I love. I'm like, yes, who did it? Who could it have been? And let me tell you, this movie threw me for so many twists and loops. I didn't know what to expect. I was just in the character Marta. The actress is so great. But not only is she so great, but the character, the way she's written is so great. Like I said, when we first were introduced to her in the beginning, I didn't think she was going to be the main character, because very rarely are especially the immigrant maids in these stories are ever the main character. They find the body and then disappear for the rest of the story. Maybe have some kind of moment later on where they're like, oh, my boss treated me like a human, whatever. But she was the main character, and you can't help but get so invested in everything that's happening, because you just want her to be okay. Anyway, so overall, I loved the movie. I loved Marta as a character. I definitely think everyone should see this movie. All the characters are so great. Chris Evans plays a character named Ransom, and he's one of those characters where you see him where everyone's recounting to Detective Blanc and the other detectives working the case, where they're recounting the night what happens. Pretty much everyone's like, oh yeah, Ransom, he's a piece of shit, whoever he is, he didn't attend the funeral, blah blah blah. So you kind of are like, ooh, could Ransom be the killer? And then the movie pretty much throws you for a bunch of different loops. Pretty much any time you're like, ooh, they could be the killer, the movie will complicate it in some way, so to the point where you're really just sitting there who did it? You're just so, even if you guess it early on in the movie, you will keep being thrown for different loops, and I think that definitely is a very strong point of the movie. So that was kind of, like I said, loved the movie, loved the set. Like I said, I loved the house. I was a little upset to find out that the interior of the house was not the exterior. So I definitely did try to pull aspects of that into this, especially there's a library that's 2 floors, and that's kind of an overlooking balcony kind of thing. I ended up doing that. I took that from the interior of the house. Sadly, I couldn't really work out putting the library super close to the kind of like a living room, or kind of like a social room like it was in the movie, so that kind of became a problem. But overall, this house has way too many rooms. Definitely, you could fit so many Sims here. And not only are there so many bedrooms, there's like I said, there's a library, there's different sitting rooms, there's a main entertainment room. It's just a very in-depth build, I will say. One of my favorites. And I'm so happy that I saw Knives Out, was able to be inspired so much by it, that I was like, oh, I need to make this in The Sims. And as I was making it, and every time I think about Knives Out, it makes me think so much how I really want a murder mystery pack, kind of similar to how Strangerville worked in The Sims 4. And I've been thinking a lot about this and how it would work out, and what I was thinking is, so it would be very similar to Strangerville, where it's a game pack probably, and we get a world the size of Strangerville, which, some people complain was small, but like I think it's a pretty decent sized world for a game pack. You get a world, and there might be one specific home that, like, you probably shouldn't edit due to coding or whatever, but like maybe if you edit it, though, it's not a big issue. But so you get you get the world, the main lot where like the murder mystery's happening, and then all the townspeople are just like in Strangerville, where you can go up and ask them about the murder mystery or something. And it's unlike Strangerville, if you choose not to participate in the game, if you choose not to want to solve the mystery, maybe you just want to live in the world or whatever, you definitely get that as a choice. And pretty much all that would happen, though, is like the mystery would just never be solved. But it wouldn't be like Strangerville, where it's so invasive that there's like, the infected people walking around, because there wouldn't be any infected people. It would just be, no matter when you're in the world, though, people will always talk, like, there will always be the option to talk to people about it. And it could just be like kind of like generic things like, oh yeah, that sucks, so that person was murdered, wish they would solve it, oh well. It could be just like something like that. Doesn't have to be something super in depth. Essentially what it is it doesn't have to be Strangerville level when it comes to how people in the town interact with it, if that makes sense. With that said, though, some of the gameplay I would prefer to see is it just kind of works like Strangerville, in the sense that there's tasks you do and they lead you closer to the mystery and who did it. The only issue I could maybe see with this is that potentially, if you play it, whoever the killer is might die, because Sims age. Depending on what the life expectancy of your Sims are, because sometimes you can set their lives to long, sometimes to short. I definitely play on the longest lifetime, or I turn off aging altogether, unless I'm doing like a challenge or a certain gameplay. So that's one issue I could see running in, is that if they do assign a specific sim for it, and maybe you don't do the mystery right away in your gameplay, then all of a sudden, like, the killer potentially has been dead, and now you've just solved this mystery for no reason or whatever. But I don't know. I definitely don't know what the best way around that would be. But like I said, that's something I want in the Sims 4. It's like this murder mystery pack, and maybe there could be like even a few different outcomes depending on how you play it. I don't know how people would react to that, because they'd be like, oh, in my game Bella Goth was the killer, and so, but in my game it was Eliza Pancakes or whatever. And that could get annoying and complicated. But I definitely think there's a lot of room in The Sims to kind of bring in a pack like this. Once again, making it optional so that for people who don't like that kind of gameplay, they can still get the pack and enjoy it, but they don't have to, force themselves to solve it if they don't want to. So yeah, those are, just things I'm thinking about that could potentially work. As well as, let me know how you feel about that. Honestly, it was after, like, for a while I've wanted kind of a murder mystery pack, but after I saw Knives Out and made this build, I was like, yo, I want to build a big fancy mansion and have one of my Sims be killed, and them have to figure it out, like, who did it? Was it the maid? Was it my Sim? Like, I definitely think there's room for that. And I think, even though I do think a lot of people who play The Sims might not be interested in having EA give the gameplay, because I know Strangerville's one of those packs that's kind of, to put it nicely, it's very contested, maybe is a good way to put it. Essentially, some people really love it, and then some people just really don't care for it. And I don't really think there's really anything to be said or done other than like, well, that's life. Anyways, we're getting up to this point in the build. I'm working on the roof. I don't put any of the interior decorating in this video or the landscaping. If you guys are interested, I could maybe do a second, third video. But I've noticed whenever I do that and I split videos up into those kind of builds, the second and third parts never do as well. And like, to be fair, I don't make videos on YouTube for the views. I'm really just doing it for fun. So like, I'm not like offended when a certain video doesn't get a lot of views. I'm like, whatever. But when I do pieces like this where it's a multi-piece, multi-part, it does, and you put a lot of effort in building it and then editing it, you do get a little upset when you're like, really? Like, no one wanted to watch it. So, I don't know. But definitely, if people are interested, I could do it. I'm also am so mad I put it off for so long doing this. I don't know why I didn't do it as fast as I wanted to. I don't know. I definitely should have gotten this out a lot sooner. I apologize greatly for that. I probably should have gotten this out while Knives Out was a little bit more relevant. I think it's still playing in theaters, and that's one thing I do want to, really put out there is if you are interested in the movie and haven't seen it yet, you really should. Like I said, I definitely think it's one of the best movies of 2019. Some of the best movies of 2019, for those who are interested, in my opinion. I definitely put Little Women up there as one of the best. Little Women, Knives Out, and then there's a few on my list I haven't seen yet that I still want to see. I saw 1917 the other day. I did really like that. That was pretty good. I'm not usually a big fan of war movies, but I did enjoy that movie. I do agree with some of the criticism of it, though. I don't know why I'm talking about the criticism of 1917 in a video that was inspired by Knives Out. So maybe I should address some of that. There are some valid criticisms about the movie. Generally, though, I can't say other than I think it's a great movie. And I thoroughly enjoyed it. And I think everyone should. Anyways, like I said, I had to stop recording there for a second. My throat really hurts. I don't know why I'm getting so sick. I feel like I've been sick since not October, but right after October and the beginning of November. I think I've been sick since my New York trip. So, RIP, probably not going to make it to 2021. That's fine. Anyways, I did have a lot of fun building this. Like I said, I can't recommend Knives Out enough. I think it's such a great movie. It's so fun, and that's the thing I love about murder mysteries is that they get so fun. You get so swept up, and you're like, who did it? Who could have been? Why did they do it? And then like when you find out who it is, you're like, why them, not this person? And then you start thinking about like, especially this movie's fun because when you find out who it is, you're like, also like, what are the repercussions? And like I said, you just. Maybe it's just me, but like I think if you watch this movie, you will end up loving the character Marta, as well as Detective Blanc is fun, Ransom's fun, Jamie Lee Curtis's character is pretty fun, Catherine Lance, I'm forgetting her last name, the girl who played Hannah Baker in the not at all controversial 13 Reasons Why. She was really good in it. I will notice one thing about this movie. I thought a lot of the bigger name actors were going to be much bigger roles, which I think maybe is why I didn't think Marta was going to be the main character, and I was so pleasantly surprised that she was. So love that for me, love that for all of us, really. So go see Knives Out, go see Little Women. If you can stomach war movies, go see 1917. Because I have a few other movies on my bucket list for 2019 I still need to see. One of them being Slim and Queen, or is it Queen and Slim? So maybe I'll release my favorite movies of the year. Who knows? Either way, go watch the movie. Download this off the gallery, and we'll see if I do a part 2.
Writes his final score to crowd applause, pretend to walk outside. A lady sweeps those dirty floors, the empty chairs don't judge her pride. And all their dreams have passed them by like the fading of a winter sun. Are gone. I might not have a home, but I've got a soul that keeps me